Yo, what's happening? What's going on, y'all? What's going on, world? Got my man Rome in the building. What's good, King?
Peace, 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 peace to the world, man.
Listen, y'all, we doing a little video. You know what I mean? A quick surprise video, I guess you could say. Reaction to this Math Hoffa, man. Apparently, he might be going out of business, right? At least going through a tough transition right now. Which is crazy because we just seen last week. Um, it was reported that Adam 22 and No Jumper is, going through some tough times right now. They going through some layoffs. You know what I mean? So right
Yeah,
now, podcasts going through some tough times. It's just the talk that's going on right now. So let's talk about your boy Math Hoffa, who a lot of people feel like, Math, he's been going through a lot these past couple
yeah,
years when it
man.
comes to his platform, man. What are your thoughts on Math and, my expert opinion, the platform over the past few years?
Yo, it's. I hope everything they reporting ain't true. You know what I mean? I was a fan of the platform. You know what I mean? I thought it was dope. Especially when it first started. You know what I mean? But it was as show grows. Business change and business changes relationships. So it's unfortunate to hear if it is true. I was like I said, I was definitely a fan of the platform. I just feel like, we we seen too many cases like this, you know what I mean, in the entertainment industry, bro, for like to see someone fall right back to it, not having a business straight allegedly, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's sad, bro. So, it's just one of those things like, yo, you literally can't sit there and be talking to people about how they got their money and all these business questions and whatnot going viral or whatnot, and you ain't even paying your people. You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
allegedly,
Or just
or you ain't.
understanding the business. You know what I mean? Getting the
Yeah,
business in order. It always comes to the money. You know what I mean? Regardless if it was Joe Budden. Um, you know what I mean? It's always an issue when it comes to the business side, and no one
facts.
wants to do the business. You know what I mean? And that's the part that's kind of crazy because my man got 1 million subs. You get what I
Yeah,
mean?
bro.
Clearly, he's done a lot of work, despite if you're a fan or not. You know what I mean of the platform. Considering his start in battle rap, I remember back in the day seeing him in a movie. I think it was like what Stars Black. It was like Rap War One. That was kind of like my
Yeah,
introduction into battle rap. You know what I mean from a movie aspect. Without
yeah,
even knowing that Math was really active in battle rap. You know what
yeah,
I'm
bro. Like
saying?
I mean, as far as his battle rap status, you know what I mean. Like he was a legend, bro. Like when YouTube first kicked off, like those battles used to get released by round. You know what I mean? So like
Hmm.
it like math was like one of the first poster childs for real. You know what I mean? When it started to get like modernized. So like it's like yo, bro, like people was rooting for him, yo. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just I just hope everything that's being reported not true. Like I said, I'm a fan of the platform. I was rooting for bro. Like I even
Hmm.
DM'd him, like I DM'd him a couple times just to be like, yo, that's dope as hell. You know what I mean? Like what you doing?
Right.
Now you know what I mean? Just on some real stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, bro.
Right.
Like I hope it ain't true, but if it is, it's just
Listen,
another
yo,
sad story.
that's one thing when it comes to math. Even back then, you know what I mean. Fast forward, the dose battle. That whole DVD, him
Yo,
snuffing dose on stage. I mean, that shit went what double platinum in the hood, triple platinum in the
facts,
hood.
facts,
If
bro,
he could have got a plaque
facts.
for that movie, I mean, I know I was showing everybody in the hood. That's how shit went viral back in the day. You invite
Right,
everybody to the crib, and everybody watched it. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
facts,
Um,
facts.
but to hear from Mav's, mouth, let's check out this video he uploaded a couple days ago, titled "We Lost the My Expert Opinion Barbershop." So clearly, there's an issue with the location in which he shoots the podcast. So let's hear what he said. Let me make sure I mute the mic because I know people like, damn, is y'all gonna play the video? Calm down, y'all. Hold on. Dang.
Jealous of another, ain't got a how to try.
Hold up. Don't do that. All right. You mess with that damn copyright music. No, sir. Hold on.
And mention Adam and how
After COVID, he probably thought things were sweet. There was a lot of shit moving and all that, and how it kind of gassed a lot of people. I would say it gassed me also. I definitely got caught up in some financial issues and all that. But regardless, I tried to keep the shop and everything running, right? But I'm gonna break down to y'all a situation that I've been dealing with. I've been dealing with this for a little while, and now it's gotten to the point where we don't know what's gonna happen with the shop. Just keeping it 100. Just keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, the math not mathing. The math not mathing, son. The math.
Now this is interesting because he's talking about the location in which they shoot the podcast, the barbershop in itself. Now, again, he's saying we lost it possibly, but you mean to tell me we can't get another location? Well,
Facts. Yo, I mean, yo, it was being reported, yo, he was bringing in anywhere from like 50K to maybe a little bit more. You know what I mean per month. Like he was making some real bread. So like, why you ain't buy a location? You know what I mean? Like
mm,
allegedly that location was being subleased. So he was paying somebody who was paying somebody, and they stopped paying the landlord. Is what happened allegedly.
mm. Well, let's see what he say in the video. Let's see this video. Hold on.
Math not mathing. But all of this stuff, like I keep it 100 with y'all, man. I keep it 100 with y'all. You know, I've talked about working like regular jobs and shit like that, but none of them shits ever lasted like a real long time. For the most part, the money that I made in the streets, or I made from battle rap, which was kind of like making it in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while before I figured out, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. It was just, getting the cash and busting moves. That was what I knew. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up in a household where my father was around to break down certain things. My mom's knew stuff. My mom started to learn shit eventually, but it wasn't like it wasn't being shared. We weren't like she wasn't like, yo, sit down. I learned about this today or whatever. So when the show became super successful, it was like a block clicking for me. You know what I mean? It was like a block clicking for me. And a lot of the deals and the situations that I got involved in weren't sound paperwork wise. Paperwork wise, it wasn't sound. It was more of like, I trust you, we're gonna do this. I trust you, we're gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? Not
Eh, you see what I'm saying, Rome? It comes down to the business.
Nasty work, bro.
Because his
Nasty work.
platform been moving for some years now. So
That's
I'm
a
trying
fact,
to
bro.
I'm trying to, again. I know y'all want to watch the whole video. Hit the link in the description so y'all can check it out. But like I said, this is interesting because we just started our podcast. You get what I mean? It's a lesson to be learned in these situations. While everybody talking about math, fumbled the bag, and all of that, understand his brand isn't over. Okay, he could
Facts.
take my expert opinion and go to another location, which I'm sure he will. You know what I'm saying? Who's just gonna abandon a platform that just earned over 1 million subs? Like, come on
Facts.
now.
Nah,
And
he'll bounce back. He'll bounce back, right? I think I don't know, man. Like like sometimes you don't know what opportunities is presented to him. It's just kind of hard to be like, yo, bro, you had a revolt deal. Like,
mm,
you was next to a drink chance, bro. You know what I
look,
mean? So like,
allegedly, according to Math,
allegedly,
he ain't
yeah,
signed no papers.
yeah, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? But yo, it make you wonder, like, yo, what's really going on, bro? You know what I mean? Like, it's something else. It's gotta be something else that's going on, because like, how do you not have that paperwork straight, bro? Like, I'm just confused. I'm
And we've
confused,
seen
though.
this situation time and time again, right? When he had Joe Budden on the podcast, right? You had Queens flip up there. Everybody was going through their little podcast issues. You know what I mean? That was the time to really pay attention to the business. But
Right.
we got to understand the whole platform is named Math Hoffa's My Expert Opinion. It's based on him. His channel in itself was already
Hmm.
established before the podcast. You know
That's
what
a
I mean?
fact.
That's important to note. You know what I mean? When people are speaking on the business, because you have to get technical. The channel and the podcast are two separate entities. You know what I'm saying? Even though the podcast is on his channel, it's just at the end of the day, if you're gonna bring people on board, you gotta make sure that business is right.
That's a
You know
fact.
what I mean? Because when the rumors started, making its way on social media that homie was, supposed to get some money through this deal, that's when you started seeing people, dropping left and right. And before you
Right.
know it, people looking at math like, he on some janky business. Even
Absolutely.
now, you know what I mean? You hear his reason for the issue he's going through right now. But let's see what he says about this location and the own. I want y'all to hear this right here. Hold on.
Shout out to Adam. I seen Adam talking about his financial situation over there and what's going on. I do feel like there is like a war or some sort of war on podcasts right now. Cause I know you guys probably been wondering, you guys are not dropping like you were before, and MEO's been going through its ups and downs, and I was real hesitant on whether to share certain things with you guys, but fuck it. Let's all just keep it real, right? Okay, so here it is. Here it is. Let's rewind like maybe 3 years ago. I acquired the shop, but the way that I acquired it wasn't, me buying it or anything like that. I met the landlord, and unfortunately, some people are not
Pretty.
they're not what's the word? They're racist.
Oh, okay.
They're
There you
racist.
go.
Some people are racist. I was trying to figure out how to say it without, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Hey, yo, Rome. Now you saying the owner racist, King. You
Hey,
know what I
bro.
mean?
The
Listen.
the end. Yo, listen. The flashlight angle is nasty
Yo,
work
so that,
in
but
the
think about
dark.
it though. That means there's no power right now in this
Right.
location, right?
Right.
And that's, listen, New York, hell, in Maryland, utilities expensive. You know what I mean? Going up. BG people losing their minds right now here in Baltimore and Maryland over the increase in the gas and electric. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not even
That's
talking
facts.
about the water. All of this stuff has to be taken into consideration when you're gonna conduct a podcast at a location that I'm sure isn't based around podcast money.
Right.
From what I see, this is an actual barbershop. You know what I
Right.
mean? So how is money being made Monday through Sunday, aside from y'all just, gathering to do the episodes? That's the part where I think people need to understand. You know what I mean? Racist, listen, math may be right. He know it more than I do. But what I'm saying is you got to look at it from a business owner standpoint, right? And same when it comes to Adam and how they got all this money and then they try to expand the business, but you couldn't maintain it. The
But
overhead was crazy.
Adam got their own location though. Like that's the whole thing. That's my whole thing. Like, yo, bro, even if that's the case, yo, you knew the landlord was racist. Why didn't you prepare yourself for another location? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? With this amongst the success you obtained. And that's
Right.
that's that's my only question. Like that just sounds kind of crazy to me. Like that would encourage me to get the hell up out of there even faster.
Yeah, yeah. But clearly, as you can see, he ain't got no power. So let's see what he says, man. Let's see what his reason for this. Hold on.
asked
It's
me
crazy.
if I
Hold
wholesale
on. I
cocaine.
want see now he trying to say the owner racist. Let me
Wholesale
see something.
cocaine.
Hold
Just to
on.
feel that.
Hold on.
And all these people pull up. There's always been some sort of pushback. There's always been like an issue, or even up to recently when we've been going through all this stuff. I called him and he pretty much brushed me off. So he's never been interested in actually doing business with me. But because we started here, I felt like it was important to have this shop. So I entered into a situation where I subleased from the person who had it before. Right? Now, with this person,
Be careful.
and then don't say no names.
I'm not. I said be
Don't say no
careful
names. Yeah.
with what you say.
With this
What you
person,
share.
what started off and seemed like a good situation, after time, it just became, not good. When you think somebody's like looking out and doing you a favor, that's what it felt like in the beginning. So after a while, landlord really. So now I'm paying up. The fucking electric bill was like $7,000. And we shot like 10 episodes last month. So we only been in the shop 2 times this month. Right? I'm gonna come back to that. The landlord always had an issue with us not being here.
During the day. Like
Not being like not running the shop or
business
whatever,
hours.
not making. Yo, so this nigga used to be mad like, why y'all not in the shop? Every time I come here, the shop is closed. Mostly we would shoot at night until we started shooting like during the day or whatever, blah blah blah. But the shop would be shut down if we not shooting. Like if we knocked out.
You see what I'm saying, Ron?
Hey,
Listen to what he's saying. You hear? Do you see the issue here?
there's no accountability, bro.
Not just accountability, because you have to look at it from that perspective, because you not having the business in order is that's your fault, not the
That's
owner
your fault.
of the location. But
Absolutely.
this part right here is what people got to understand. When you're launching a podcast today in 2025, a lot of people, including myself, I keep it 100 with you. We doing this from the crib, okay?
Yeah.
At the house, right? For some, you might not want to work at the house, but from a financial standpoint, this is why it makes sense. If you're bringing in 5 figures, 6 figures a year or more, you got to be mindful how much that money you got to put back out and maintaining, you know what I mean? Everything that goes with the
Mm-hmm.
podcast. Now, think from the owner's perspective, or anyone who has a location. How many people do you know are able to put in $100 million into a podcast and to recoup their 100 million back? How long do you think it would take? You know what I mean? Through a
Right.
podcast business. Because this is the
Yeah,
issue that
absolutely.
people are not understanding. During COVID, a lot of people quickly rushed to, throw money into these platforms, right? You notice Gilly and Wallow, they got Barstool. You feel me? That's the bag behind them, right?
Right.
Homeboy, Dave Portnoy or something like that. That's the bag behind them. Cam and Mace. Underdog Sports Fantasy. That's the bag behind the You need the funding from somewhere. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because again, if you don't have a way to make a return on your investment, you just basically, wasted millions of dollars for nothing. And this is why podcasting right now is in a tough space, because again, no one's really recouping on the investment made. Now, New York, everything is expensive. He
Mm-hmm.
just said it. He just said it here. Yo, the landlord was tripping because we wasn't in here during the daytime. You want to know why? Because he's trying to figure out how he gonna get his money.
Right.
Damn, this is a barbershop, and when I come through the daytime, nobody cutting hair.
Mm-hmm.
And you telling me the money gonna be right, even though I don't see you working. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I can see how that's a conflict. Because in today's world, maybe somebody from back in the day, they don't see how someone's making all of this money. Right? Look, he just got hit with a electric bill over 7,000.
Right. That's crazy.
Now, I'm curious to know, because again, we had our, our upbringings in the city. We've had times where the electric was out. We can't front. You know what I mean? Had to holler at the hookup man, get some power ran next door. We did all of that.
Yeah.
You know
Yo,
what I
but
mean? Let's keep it funky. You
we
feel
wasn't
me?
live on YouTube looking like we telling ghost stories. You
No,
know what I'm
no, that's a
saying?
fact. Look, but look though, it's a difference between residential and commercial.
Yeah.
When you live there, they'll charge you a different price for your electric compared to commercial property. And to me, that's why he got hit with that high ass bill, because he's not being treated like residential. That's a
Right.
commercial property, and they're gonna treat
Right.
you with commercial property rates. So now you in a situation where, like Martin said, I ain't paying the five. I ain't $1,000 is a lot of money, but again, you got to keep all of
you,
this in mind
yo, bro, yo, but bro,
running a
yo, listen,
podcast.
if you running a business, yo, so like,
Yes,
yo, if
yes.
you, that's what it takes to keep the business afloat. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, learning experience for all of the viewers. This isn't a moment to be like, yo, Mad fumbled the bag, because at some point, goddamn it, we gonna make a mistake. You know what I mean? It's your bounce back. In this situation, I don't think this is the end of my expert opinion. All he has to do is find a location that makes sense. You know what I mean? He's been doing it from the crib. Look where he at now. He might as well continue down that path instead of
Yeah,
having to be force paying, you know what I mean, a tab at the end of the month, gas,
yeah,
electric, and rent for a place you barely see throughout the
yeah,
day.
yeah. Well, he bounced back. Absolutely, I have complete faith in that he'll find another way. You know what I mean? Another angle or whatever to bounce back and keep the platform going. I have full faith in that.
That's if he wants, though, because at the end
If
of the
he
day,
wants to, right?
you can't have a platform without co-hosts. You know what I mean? People got to buy into the cast. They got to buy into the system. You know what I mean? Look at the Joe Budden podcast. Several personalities, but Joe was smart enough to bring on Melissa Ford. What's the dude name? Mark Lamont Hill. He's over there like the mad scientist, trying to experiment and see what works and what doesn't. You know what I
Right,
mean? And once the people buy into it, well, goddamn it, you know what I mean? We got a cast. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But in this situation, all of the allegations and the business behind the scenes, here we are. You know what I mean? Now let me play a little bit more of this, because I know you got, get ready swerves, support
Yeah, yeah,
baby
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Already.
I just wanted to bring you on because, this is something I want to incorporate into the channel moving forward. So
Yeah,
again,
definitely.
let's let this video play. Hold on.
4 episodes in 1 week, right? That's 2 weeks worth of work. So we might not have to shoot until maybe the end of next week. But if we knocked out like 8 episodes in 1 week, we out for the month. We be going for the month, and this nigga would be complaining that the shop is not open. I'm like, why are you complaining? So the chick that I was subleasing from would start sending me shit like, yo, this nigga's gonna he's gonna try to evict this. This ain't a barbershop. It's still a barbershop. You walk into the motherfucker, you look around. It looks like a fucking barbershop, don't it? I'm gonna come full circle with all this shit, right? So this electric bill, which continue to grow and get sky high. Peep this, y'all. And I refused to pay it because it didn't make no sense. Something was wrong. Mm-hmm. But, I'm stuck in between the war that's going on between these two people, right? So, the person I lease from decides, fuck it, I'm gonna cut this shit. But she don't tell me nothing. That's the ill part. She don't tell me nothing. Nothing. Come to find out, the day that she cut the power here, what y'all think happened? What y'all think happened? It also cut the power in different areas in the building.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
So now the super is like, yo, what's up with the electricity? The power here. It also cut the power in 2 years, like 2 years, without a problem. It's just you keep coming up with these extra numbers, and I'm like, is she scamming me? Like, what's going on? Come to find out, the day that she cut the power here, it also cut the power in different areas in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So, according to math, the owner cut the power to, I guess, his location, and several other spots in the building lost power. So, again, coming from the hood, we know what that is. You know what I mean? Somebody running one electric to several different units, but yet one bill is sky high. You know what I mean? To the
Absolutely,
roof. Now,
absolutely.
again, according to math, he said it. I ain't want to pay it. I ain't feel like paying it. Well, now you sitting sitting in the dark telling ghost stories, man. This
You
this
afraid of the dark,
let's
man? Oh
listen,
my
man.
god.
I know. Sometimes, when we younger, we got that mentality like fuck it. But it's gonna cost you. And right now, as you can see, um, it's costing you because now you got to figure out a location. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, y'all want to see the whole video and hear the rest of Math give his reason as to why, he might be switching locations for his My Expert Opinion podcast because again, it's crazy, man. I just wanted to give, our take on it because, we got our podcast, the weekly wrap up show. You know
That's
what
a
I
fact.
mean? Y'all make sure to check that out. Let me see. Put
Yeah,
that on the screen right quick. We got the episode 9 just came out.
that's a
People
fact.
still
Subscribe and
rocking with
share
it.
that, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I mean? Tell the people where they can find you at, Ron, while, we got you here real quick.
Already, man. You're the Melvin Air Podcast, man. Melvin Air Podcast 1075 on YouTube. Uh, Can't Knock the Muscle underscore 43 on IG. Melvin Air underscore podcast on IG, man. We everywhere out here, man. Check us out. Subscribe. Share the show. We dope. And you will see more of us all over the place, bro. Just get used to us.
Yes, sir. And if you're wondering what the hell that is on your screen, yes, that's Melvin. Busting them down with the African squats
That's
in the living room. Your eyes
the
aren't
whole
fooling you.
fact.
You know what I mean? But Rome, another talented content creator. You know what I mean? However you want to view it today, he's out here building his platform. We've come together to create the weekly wrap up show. I just want y'all to, stay tuned, man. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed, check us out. We 9 episodes in. We usually drop, early Friday, late Thursday night. So just stay tuned, man. But I know Rome, you gotta get up out of here. Go ahead and take care of your business. And yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next live. All right.
Alrighty, man. Peace,
All
love,
right, then.
salute.
All righty.
Peace.
Peace. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, we just, adding some different content to the channel. I know we do short form, we got the podcast. And for me, like I said, I want to incorporate the live shows as well. For those who may not know, again, my name is Sensei Rip. I am the owner of Forgotten Kings TV 2.0. Okay. Like I said, if you've been with me since day one, I appreciate your support. We're growing, almost at 310,000 subscribers. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for the people. And moments like this with Math Hoffa and his platform, to me, it was a perfect opportunity to do a live, to inform people about the business because everyone is so quick to, jump into a lane for the money, but they are, unaware of the business, that has to be conducted behind the scenes. And that's the importance of all of this. Because again, we are going to fail at something at some point, but how are you going to bounce back from it? Right now, Math, he's going to have to deal with, whatever decisions he's made on his own time. You know what I mean? People are going to say what they're going to say on social media. From what I know, he got a show right now at the Apollo coming up. He said he's going to address more of the controversy after seeing several people react to it. Like I said, this wasn't a video where we just want to poke fun at Math. You know what I mean? I'll leave that up to y'all in the comment section to give your own commentary and thoughts. But again, like I said, if you want to jump in the podcasting lane, understand it's a business. And you got to take into effect that, it's a lot of responsibility, time consuming. You can't just jump in there 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No, man. If you want to get a location, understand how much it's going to cost you. Understand the utilities. You know what I mean? Count up all the expenses that goes, into the podcast itself. How much are you making on a monthly basis? Are you going to be able to cover that tab? Like I said, this is why a lot of people do content from the crib. It makes sense. You know what I mean? You work from home, create your office. As you can see, Math is already, working from the crib. So, like I said, I don't want to hold y'all up. We reaching 30 minutes. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on the Math Hoffa, my expert opinion controversy. Again, do you think this is the end for Math, or do you think at some point he will just switch up the location and go with a new formula that makes sense financially? You know what I mean? Because it's no sense in me taking all of this effort, right? Putting it into a podcast, and I'm barely, recouping. You know what I mean? I'm barely making it. YouTube, there's days where, you'll make a lot of money, and then sometimes it's slow. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? And this is where you got to get into the business of it. You got to study those like Joe Budden and them who've been doing it for a while. Like I said, Spotify, you've seen what they did with Joe Rogan. That's the bag. That's the machine behind them. But if you don't have that investor behind it, you covering everything from your pocket, you know what I mean? Out your own pocket, it's going to cost you. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind when you're getting into the business. Be a student. You know what I mean? Do the necessary work now so it doesn't come back to haunt you on the back end. Because again, it's going to cost you now or later. You know what I mean? Your ignorance, your laziness, someone's going to get rich off of that. Someone's going to capitalize off of that. So keep that in mind. But again, I ain't going to talk y'all head off. That's all I got for y'all today. Till my next video, man. My name is Sensei Rip. Till next time. Peace. I'm out, y'all.